Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Hope everyone is doing good, inshallah. We will continue on today with the 17th flash. We need to continue on with the third matter. Hamim has posted the link, and we will pick up from in short. So it's only 2 paragraphs, and wondering if there's anyone willing to read it for us, and then we can moderate together. Any volunteers? Mariam, yes, go for it, please. And so I see your hand up, so I assume it's a yes. So let me start. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي وصلى اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين. So we are continuing on today with the third matter of the 17th flash. Mariam, whenever you're ready, please begin.
In short, there is a hadith which says, all will perish save those who know, and those who know will perish save those who act, and those who act will perish save the sincere, and the sincere are in grave danger. That is to say, the only means of salvation and deliverance is sincerity. It is of the greatest importance to gain sincerity. The tiniest act performed with sincerity is preferable to tons performed without sincerity. A person should understand that what gains sincerity for his actions is his doing them purely because they are a divine command, and that their result is divine pleasure, and he should not interfere in God's business. There is sincerity in everything. A jot of love, even with sincerity, is superior to tons of official love, for which return is wanted. Someone described this sincere love as follows: I do not want a bribe, recompense, return, or forward for love. For love which seeks recompense is weak and short-lived. Sincere love has been lodged in human nature and in all mothers. This compassion of mothers manifests this sincere love in its true meaning. Evidence that through the mystery of this compassion, mothers do not want or seek a reward or bribe for this love of their children is their readiness to sacrifice their lives and even their eternal happiness for them. All a hen's capital is its life, and one hen sacrificed its head in order to save its chick's head from the jaws of a dog, as Hüsrev witnessed. And should I stop there?
Yes, that would be it. Thank you very much. Okay, so this is a continuation from the third matter, where everyone is seeking eternal happiness, right? So the author starts off by saying, happy is the man who knows his limit and does not exceed them. And so we touched upon this part where the heart is like a throne, but it is not a divine throne. So that was touched upon last week. And also that man is very impotent and weak as a created being. So today, while Mariam was reading, I was underlining some keywords that I felt constantly being repeated in the text. But just before we move on, is there anyone who wants to share out anything, like an impression that you got away from this? I see Mariam, your hand is up. You want to say something? Go for it, please. At any time, feel free to raise your hand. And so if you have any questions or I don't know, how do you want to start up the discussion? If there's something that really didn't make sense, let know. If not, then we can start up by the author sharing the Hadith. And so, all will perish save those who know. Yeah, so I was thinking all will perish, everything will be destroyed in terms of this morning is gone, yesterday is gone, the moment from before is gone. So yeah, I'm definitely experiencing everything being destroyed, dying, perishing. And so what does it mean? All will perish save those who know. Those who know what? Those who know something, those who must have knowledge of something, and those who have knowledge of something will perish save those who act. And those who act will perish save the sincere, and the sincere are in grave danger. So I'm not sure what this refers to, but definitely there's pointing out to sincerity. And Mustafa and Yasin, please go ahead.
So for me, I had the same exact question of what is it that we should know, and why is it that should we act on it and with sincerity, and what is this important thing that saves us from perishing? So to me, I think the Hadith and those words are about this is kind of a hunch, so you maybe we can discuss it and figure out if that's what it means. To me, it's your kind of eternalness, right? Your reflectivity, as the previous paragraph has put it. So when you know that you are a reflection of an eternal being, a creator that will not perish, that is one step towards saving yourself in a way, saving that part of you that reflects the infinite being that is creating that part of you and reflecting it. So I think that is the knowledge, like the knowledge. I guess let's make it more practical. Let's say whatever it is that you have, your ability to maybe see the world or shape it in some way, that is a reflection of your creator's ability to infinitely and with all power shape it and create it from nothing. So what we should know about it is that it is a reflection of that power, of that creatorship. And if we don't know, then that will perish within us, that reflection. We eliminate it. And it goes further. If we do know that this is something given to us and is a reflection of this infinite creating being, then we have to use it in the proper order it's created with. So if our hands are there to help those in need, for example, or build homes for people who need shelter, or even lift a fruit to our face and eat it. It's something as simple as that. We act on the knowledge that we are given this ability to manipulate our world, and that goes further. And when we act, it must be with sincerity, and only with sincerity is that knowledge, that action, all of it, something that will last, something that will point to something eternal, that will build something eternal in this unseen world, in the idea of that will live on in some different form. And I think that's, to me, is the idea of knowing that everything we have in this universe, including ourselves, belongs to and reflects this infinite being. And only with that knowledge, and if we act with that knowledge sincerely, do we save that part of ourselves that reflects on that being. So that's my hunch on what this means.
Thank you, Mustafa. That helps open up the discussion. And I'm just going to reiterate what I understood from what you said. I know there was a little analogy of mirror and its reflection being made, but I'm just going to put it on the side right now. So just in terms of sincerity, I'm starting off with myself, that I find myself in need of wanting meaning, purpose to anything I interact with. And later on, when I go on in my journey, when maturity starts coming in, I realize, guess what? I need guidance. And so with all these needs and wants, I go on searching for purpose and meaning, which is really seeking guidance for everything. And that's how I'm connecting with what you said and with what the author is really like zooming in on, the sincerity part of everything, sincerity part of the human existence, where I want to know who am I? And, you know, those existential questions, what am I doing here? And what is all this existence for? And it's very interesting also where the author starts by saying, or I mean, the Hadith, it's not the author, but it's the Hadith that's being shared, which is mentioning about everything is perishing. So really the transient of thing, or the transitory nature of everything, even my existence as well. I'm constantly changing. We are all subject to change. And just all of that makes us want to seek meaning and purpose. And so when we are cognizant of this human reality, then we're looking for guidance, or we're looking for meaning and purpose, and that's being sincere to my true human nature. But just this itself, like knowing, yeah, I have this need and, you know, I gotta seek guidance, is just like a first step. Like you said, then we have to move on by doing the actions. So we're given various tools, hands, like just like very things that are apparent, our faculty of reasoning, speaking, listening. We're just like very rich individuals. We're like endowed with so many tools that we're using them, and we can't even make it step by step. It's just like, you know, we're interacting with the universe and we have this need of wanting meaning and purpose. And so now let's move on with, and those who act will perish, save the sincere, and the sincere are in grave danger. So if I want to make sure that whatever I am doing has a meaning and purpose, a meaning that satisfies me in my existence, then I'm being sincere with my human self. However, I do not know why the author says the sincere are in grave danger. And then he goes on explaining it in terms of saying that a person should understand that what gains sincerity for his action is his doing them purely because they are divine command, and that the result is divine pleasure. So now we would connect to the reflection part that you were mentioning. And so, yeah, I'm thinking on how can we connect it in terms of like maybe seeking meaning, what kind of meaning, and where does this meaning point to? So let's try to make sense from here to that part. And that was just my immediate take on what was shared thus far. But let me see if there's anyone else who wants to add something so we can further proceed with this. So feel free to raise your hand. Anyone who, if you want to say something, those of you who joined in, we are on page 181 of the 17th flash. And Hamim posted the link. Beza, I see your hand up. Go ahead, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for the comments thus far. I'm still, you know, thinking about the sentence, the hadith, all will perish save those who know, and those who know will perish save those who act, and those who act will perish save the sincere, and even the sincere are in grave danger. The way the sentence is set up, it's like those who know, or knowing something doesn't necessarily necessitate that one acts and is sincere in that knowledge. And knowing something and acting in accordance with this knowledge doesn't necessitate that I'm sincere. And knowing and acting and being sincere also doesn't necessitate that I will not perish. So that was my initial takeaway from just the structure of the sentence. But then I was thinking about, as Mustafa brought up, like practical example of what is at stake for me, or what is this trying to say for me. And I think even just like maybe chopping up the sentence like that, then it just becomes information. So then I was trying to think of a practical example for myself as well. And then just to make things a little bit easy and simple, I was thinking of like smoking, for example. So someone can know, or I can know, that smoking is bad for me, but I can still act in a way that doesn't correspond with this knowledge. So just knowing that something is good or bad for me doesn't really mean that I will definitely act in the way that this information or knowledge says that I should act in. But in the situation where I know that smoking is bad for me, which seems to be the starting point here, and I then act in accordance with this knowledge, so I do not smoke. But even in that state, then there is still this part of the equation of this sincerity that may be lacking there. And if I don't have that, then there's a risk. And even if I have that, there's a risk of being perished. But so I was trying to understand, I guess, this play between like truly what here does knowing really refer to, and is that just like being aware of the reality of the situation? Because in a way, being aware of the reality of the situation, like if I know that smoking is bad for me, or maybe some nicer example, I don't know, like I should drink a certain amount of water per day or something, like doesn't mean that I should study for my test as a student, okay? Doesn't mean that I will act in such a way. I do see a comment here, which and you know, I can't even get to the sincerity part myself, because I'm just trying to understand what this exactly, as Brother Adam is asking, this sincerity is referring to, and how I should be taking this knowing and acting in accordance with it. But sorry, that was a long comment, so I'll just leave it at that for now. Thank you. Actually, before I let this go, sorry, but yeah, one other thought I just remembered was in the context of the entirety of this text here, you know, in the very beginning, he says, happy is the man who knows his limits and does not exceed them, right? So within the context of, as you had also brought up earlier too, like what it means for me to be happy. And I think part of what this sincerity could also be referring to, I'm just throwing this out there, but so, you know, not externalizing things as knowledge or information into knowledge, or for myself, not something that somehow corresponding it to something internal. Like sincerity is not something I can show with like, here it is, this is my sincerity. So something that definitely looks inward, something that requires inner work. And I think that must have to do with my understanding of my reality and understanding what is at stake for me. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, H. Pizza. And I see Mustafa's hand up, but before we go give the mic to Mustafa, I know Sohail Dar has some comment about sincerity. So go ahead, Sohail, would you like to speak and say out your comments? I think it's linking to the sincere are in grave danger. I don't know, to me it's answering that question. So if you want to address that, go for it, please.
Just to say that, you know, even sincerity can become insincere if you don't, as in to say that you think your sincerity is on account of yourself. That's why I think the Prophet says even the sincere in grave danger, because the line is very fine between sincerity and sincerity which is insincere, so to speak, as in like there's a sort of pride in your sincerity, as if it belongs to you, rather than being bestowed, like even the ability to be sincere. So as H. Bezos was saying, simply knowing is not enough, and even acting is not enough. And what is required is sincerity and acting upon that which one knows. But to get to that point can be quite perilous, because on every step of the way, it requires that one be or take into account one sort of ego, self-centered self. You know, so that's why I think the Prophet's saying that even the sincere are in grave danger.
Can you please give a practical example on that in terms of
practical? So he gives the example of a mother who does something for her child out of pure compassion and love, but it's possible that that mother could see that compassion and love coming from, you know, herself, potentially. Or for example, I do something to help someone, and seeing that my, you know, need and ability and quality to do so and feeling satisfied, that I take it for myself, rather than knowing that it is being bestowed. That's knowledge in action with sincerity. Because you can know, like anybody can know that the quality is bestowed, let's say, to help somebody, or that the creator of the universe bestows certain qualities within man, and you can act on that and say it. But to me, sincerity is not just something you say, but it's how you feel and how you view what you know and what you do. So that's why it's not something sort of so obvious like words. It's something that only you can recognize, potentially.
Oh, very good point. It's really like the inner recognition and confirmation of one's reality, where whatever order of the universe I find myself in, and I'm following it, just knowing that all I'm doing, I'm just following it. I'm not the producer, or I'm not the one that's bringing things into existence. Just, I guess, just being who you are as in true to your human nature, where you know that, hey, I'm a created individual, I'm needy, and I must have an existence giver that's bringing me into existence. So yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. And I know Mustafa and Yasmin had their hand up. We can go with that, and then Zafar, and then Asim. So Mustafa, go ahead, please.
So just to add on to what Sohail said, I think we're given an example in the text of pure sincerity, and that is a mother's love and a mother's sacrifice for her offspring, and that we can see that in the animals and within human beings as well. That is a great example of pure sincerity, because there is no way it could be insincere. It's very difficult for it to be insincere. It's acting purely without thought of oneself, right? There is no ability to be insincere in that scenario. It is purely sacrificing oneself for another. So that act is a good example of sincerity, but I don't think sincerity is limited to that. You can be insincere and ask for something, right? If we make dua for things all the time, we ask our Creator for everything all the time. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as it is done with sincerity. So to answer Adam's question, what is sincerity then? To me, it's honesty. To me, it's recognition that you can do nothing to get that thing you're asking for, that you don't have any ability, any kind of pride, arrogance in yourself, and recognizing that you are completely and utterly dependent on the Creator, on the one who can give you these things, the one who can, in the Hadith example, who can give you immortality, who can give you eternalness. So to be sincere is not just to sacrifice in a way something for the Creator, but it is to sacrifice everything for the Creator, is to recognize that you are holy, your entire being belongs to the Creator, and everything you need, you ask for, and the things you don't ask for are given to you by your Creator. So with that knowledge and that feeling, as Sohail put it, right, you can act in the proper order which you know. And that is the complete action to prevent yourself, or whatever part of yourself is relevant then, from perishing.
Thank you. That's a good point as well. I know I see. Are you done, Mustafa? Because I see your hand up again. If not, then we can give the mic to Brother Zafar. Brother Zafar, go ahead, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Some of this may be a little repetitive because there have been some good points made already.
I'm sorry, can you just speak up a little louder because your voice is low, please? Thank you.
Okay, I hope you hear me better now. I was saying some of this may be repetitive because good points were made already. So one question was, what is it that that we know? And I think Mustafa gave a nice example for the mirror, that what we know is that we reflect, or things reflect the qualities of an eternal being. In the Quran, this is referred to as Adam being taught all the names, and could reflect, could tell that existence is but a reflection of an absolute source. So that's that's what we know or supposed to know as we live here. And so it is, we can say that the existence is just a reflection of an absolute one, and we can act accordingly, meaning that I can say this universe has an owner, and so I have to act in accordance with the fact that it has an owner. I cannot act any way I want. But simultaneously, as Suhail said, if a mother doesn't, if a mother, as she shows compassion to her child, doesn't acknowledge at the time of showing that compassion that she doesn't own the compassion, that she is actually just reflecting it like a mirror, then she is at the risk of getting to know the source of the compassion, the absolute source of the compassion. And that's a grave risk. It is one thing to say that all compassion has an absolute source. It's another thing to, when I show the compassion, that I acknowledge that it's flowing through me at this moment, and I witness it. And so not only are we responsible to know all the names as they get manifested in this realm, but we also need to try to be a comprehensive mirror, a conscious, comprehensive mirror to all of them, and witness that they flow through us, or else we fall in the transience and lose the opportunity to get to know, to really get to know the absolute source as would be expected from a human being. So like the hand's saving her chicks from the dog by sacrificing herself. That's sincerity for a hen. But a mother's sacrificing herself for her children may not be sincere if she does not pay attention to what the author is saying here. So it's, for the human, it's not the act of sacrificing that really matters. It is the what was it? Sincerity, which is recognition, being a conscious mirror. So thank you.
Thank you, Brother Zafar. Good point about being aware that we're just mirror reflecting qualities that we are not owners of, and these qualities are just reflected in our mirror. Thank you. And I know Asim also had his hand up. So Asim, would you like to make a comment? Go for it, please.
Okay, sorry. So that was some time ago, but most of the comments pretty much addressed what I wanted to say also. So the way I was looking at sincerity based on the previous discussions we were having, how sincerity ties to being like true to yourself, the way you are created, that you're knowing your limits, as with the first sentence, in terms of that you as a human being are a created being and should know and realize all your needs, that you are a needy individual and all your needs are being provided for. You cannot create anything, you cannot give existence to anything. And it ties into that the basis of worship that we spoke about, that pretty much everything that is given to you is a favor to you. You, as a human being, you are who you are. You are a needy individual, and everything. I mean, one cannot say that I deserve this or I'm entitled to this, but everything is given freely to us, whatever that source is, whoever is giving us existence or giving the existence to and satisfying all those, answering all those needs that we are in need of. Or so, for example, we spoke about, like all those need of whatever, air to breathe or food to eat, water to drink, and shelter, and you can name it, so on and on. It never ends. We discussed that, and that realizing that this is what my state is, this is who I am, that I am a contingent being, I'm always in need, and that is what sincerity would lie with. That is how, anything that I do with that awareness of my reality, that becomes something sincere. And if the examples that were given in terms of, if somebody thinks that the compassion is theirs, then that is because attributing that quality or anything, forgetting for a moment that, hey, that all these qualities are also given to me by that source. So that's when those things become insincere. So the sincerity ties to knowing who you are and what your limits are, what your reality is, that you are a created being and you are the needy one, and on the receiving end.
No, good points. Yeah, thank you for taking us a little bit back to the context of this third matter, where happy is the man who knows his limits and does not exceed them. So we know that we have endless needs, and all we're doing, we're just like a farmer sowing the seed in the soil and expecting for results to be created. And yeah, and that's all we're doing basically. We're not bringing anything into existence, and also knowing, like what you were saying, is basically clearing oneself out of this sense of agency towards things, or attributing things to oneself, or even having this attitude that yeah, so and so is showing me compassion and love, and yeah, you know what, I deserved it. Even that part, in terms of it's everything is just it's being given, it's being brought into existence, and all I'm doing is I'm just being myself here with the right state of mind, or being more aware and conscious of who am I as a created being, and really, and what can be the true provider of all the bounties that we are endowed with. And I know we have Miriam and Rayan. We have Miriam from Ohio as well. So I'm just gonna check in with any of them to see if they have anything to share, or if something doesn't make sense, or if you have any concern, feel free to express yourself out. If something doesn't make sense, say it out. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I don't understand this. Don't be shy. So we're just gonna check in to see. All right. So I'll take it as a thinking out here. So at any time, feel free, anyone, interrupt us, raise your hand. And also another practical example that came to me, a very simple one. So like I can be following the order where I know, let's say I need to bake a cake. And I know, yeah, guess what? I need eggs, I need sugar, I need flour, I need butter and all that. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? All of this is created. I didn't create it, but then here I am mixing up all the ingredients and put it in the oven. and then the result comes out, and you know, we get a cake. But then if I start attributing it to myself, as in, you know, guess what, I gave it its sweet qualities, I gave it its texture and everything, then yeah, we have to be very watchful for that. All we're doing is we're just consuming all the tools and products here, and you know, just expecting for the result to be created, and everything else is just brought into existence. So just wanted to share a little very simple practical example, and check in to see if there's anything he wants to say. Brother Ali had his hand up some moments ago. Okay, I may have missed that. Sorry about that. So Ali Murmur, if you wanna say something, please go for it.
After Suhail.
Oh, go ahead, Suhail Dar.
I'll just say one thing. This hadith reminds me of another prophetic. I don't know if it's a hadith, but it's like a famous encounter where I think some companion asked him something along the lines of that, or questioned why he was so conscious of God, or so in. He was in so much worship, so to speak, and because isn't he guaranteed paradise? And the prophet said that, you know, even I don't know what will become of me. So I think to me that was his sort of mindset, is that it's not, his relationship with his creator is not transactional, but is predicated on sort of impotence, poverty, neediness.
Good point. Thank you for sharing that out. I mean, yeah, like we cannot guarantee anything. All we can do is just follow the best way possible by utilizing ourselves to the best of our abilities, and just but every moment we're just impotent and in need to be given existence. So, and yeah, and also every moment we are in need to acknowledge what is it that I truly am, and what is it that I'm truly seeking. And right, and what does it also mean that I think even this question about what is it truly that I'm seeking, it's also part of realizing who am I, and then with that, everything has to do with acknowledgement. I think is key here. It takes you to your sincere human nature. And yep, thank you. Ali Murmur, go ahead, please.
I have nothing to say new, but I have been listening to very valuable contributions to the discussion by all of you. And I wanted to just wrap them up with one phrase here used in the text, which is, in short, starting from the paragraph starts with "in short." In the last sentence, a person should understand that what gains sincerity for his actions is he's doing them, performing purely because they are a divine command. They are a divine command, and that their result is divine pleasure. And he shouldn't interfere in God's business. Most of the things are already discussed by those people who presented their understandings. Now, of course, I said these are very good, all the comments are very good explanation of the phrase divine command. So divine command we understand that whatever exists is the reflection of the will of the creator. So we have to see what exists then. Or we see that the universe exists and human beings also exist. But one thing, from the relationship between human beings and the universe, we understand, we conclude that yes, universe is meaningful. Yes, my being is meaningful and perfectly arranged for a purpose. I understand that. And also I have a lot of innumerable amount of feelings, and I am aware of them. I am conscious of them. But among these feelings, I have some qualities which is which may be called as consciousness, requires that I have some questions, and these questions must need answer. They need answer. The answer, if it is related to the universe, how it functions, yes, I can investigate the universe and find out. If it is related what I want within the limits of this universe, yes, I can work for it and spend some labor and obtain them. These are possible. But there are some questions that I cannot get answer, neither from myself nor from the universe. And I am puzzled. That's a very interesting, if you like, crossroad, conjunction. What am I going to do with this question since there is no answer available for me? because of the lack of the answer makes my life in this universe meaningless. Why? Because all these answers, all these questions require meaning in my existence and the existence of these questions. These questions there is created within me, and I am created with the ability to ask these questions, and I cannot get the answer. So it makes my existence futile, useless. Why? Because I want happiness, and the universe says, no, 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 you are going to die and perish away. What? Are you joking? And my body says, yeah, yeah, you will die. And as far as the body is concerned, you will rot away. And my feelings say, no, it can't be. It can't be. It must be a reason for your existence. My feelings remind me. I say to my feelings, there must be a purpose in the existence of these feelings, and whoever made me with consciousness, and consciousness forces me to get the answer. If there is no answer, I am in trouble, because I find my existence meaningless, although everything else is meaningful and they have their purpose. This contradiction makes me conclude that to challenge with my creator, to really, at least verbally, rebel against him, saying that, why did you create me in this world, since you are not going to satisfy the needs you have already given to me? Come on, give me the reason. Come on, you have to explain. That's my need. And I say, of course, since everything is meaningful and given existence for a purpose, and there is wisdom in the purpose of the existence of everything, what is the wisdom? How can I get this? in my existence which contradicts what I experience and what I desire as a human being. So I say, please, please, my creator, you must help me. And I'm sure you put me in this contradiction so that you must help me. I should understand that you must help me and you will help me. Tamam, explain to me. So that makes necessary for me that the universe must, the creator of the universe must provide me with the answer. And this answer must be addressing the needs of my questions, feelings. Especially, I want everything eternally perfect. That's my feeling. I am not satisfied and happy with any answer which falls short behind my expectations. I say, okay, this creator must speak to me. So in his speech must give me guidance why he has created me with these abilities, what is the ultimate purpose of the existence of this universe, what is the ultimate purpose of my existence. He must speak. And I must find this speech. Now the command, it means guidance. I receive guidance from the way the universe is created. I am summarizing. And these are all mentioned by you. And I receive guidance from the way I am created, as much as I can decipher what they are. And I must get guidance from the way that the creator speaks to me. I must search for it. So in this guidance, definitely he will guide me saying, go this way, not to that way, do this, not to do this, because the purpose you want to fulfill in your existence can be fulfilled by following this guidance in the perfect way. So you will understand that my guidance is really appropriate to your nature, the way I created you. And this guidance also gives me direction, what to do, what not to do. And while I am obeying the order, the command I receive through the creation of the universe, through my own creation, I have to accompany it with the guidance that I receive. Of course, when I receive the guidance, and this guidance must be accompanied with the physical existence of a thing which will explain and represent the content of this guidance, which is the prophet, messengers. These are the teachers of the human beings employed by the creator of the universe. As the universe is employed by its creator to guide me, and my feelings are created by their creator to guide me, and this speech must be created by a means which will guide me. That makes the prophethood, messengership necessary for my life. Not because I belong to a religion. No, my very existence necessitates that I have to follow the exemplary teachings of these appointed messengers. Now I have to look for the messenger and follow his exemplary life. That is a command as well. So when I receive any command from these three different but essentially coming from the same source, commands, and I have to follow them just because I am created with the need to follow the commands. So that is the only way to reach the sincerity, to get the sincerity. So these commands all say that we are created. Verbal explanation all say that we are created. The uh, teachers of the verbal commands, explanations, that also say, I am created. I have to act as a created person, human being. So created means I own nothing. These are all expressed, but I just wanted to combine all of them, make a whole picture of them if I could make it for myself and share it with you. So the sentence says they are a divine command. I have to do it because they are a divine command. And that their result is divine pleasure. It means, oh, when I follow the commands, all sorts of commands, in my practical life, in my usage of my own employing and using, benefiting from my feelings and really practicing them, putting them into practice, my feelings, whatever the feelings I have, and also following the descriptions in the divine speech and the representative of this divine speech in the form of a man, following this exemplary pattern. And then I will say, okay, I am now fulfilling the purpose in my existence. Can you imagine? A person makes a computer laptop for me and presents it to me. If I use it not as a computer, but as a means to put something on, a tray, do you think the maker of this computer, who presented to me, gift from him, this maker, the gift giver, will be pleased with me? Anybody? Maybe Maryam, Ryan, one of you will answer, because I didn't hear their beautiful voice today. Come on. Do you think the one who gave me the computer and I am using it as a tray for my teapot or coffee pot, coffee cup, do you think he will be happy? Are you here? Oh, no voice is coming. Okay, the other Maryam from Ohio, Maryam. Do you think the maker will be happy?
No.
Yeah, because he will say, look, I gave this precious thing and he didn't appreciate it. So to please the creator of the universe, to please God, doesn't mean that I'm entertaining him. No, I am fulfilling his aim in creating this universe in the positive way. Then he will be pleased. He will be happy. Why he will be happy? Okay. How do you think he will? Do you think start dancing or something? No. Yeah. He will be happy so that he will say, okay, this man really appreciated my gift. I must give him more. That is paradise. If someone doesn't appreciate the computer, do you think, in the example, just analogy, do you think he will give me another computer, or he won't give me anything, or he will give me a simple tray? What do you think? Who will answer? If the question is clear for you. If not, I can repeat.
They will take away whatever you have.
And then will give me a simple tray instead of a laptop. Yeah, because I deserve it. That is called hell. But if I really appreciated the computer he gave me, let's say this computer is ordinary one, He will say, oh, this guy is fully using it, utilizing it, so I must give him with another computer, which is even more valuable, which has even more programs on it. I mean, with larger capacity. This is called paradise. The pleasure of God must be understood rightly. Otherwise, people keep asking questions. Maybe people, your friends, may keep asking them, why do we want to make the Creator pleased? I mean, seek His pleasure. But do you want us to entertain Him? These are the very frequently asked questions. We say, no, just if you want more, He will understand that you deserve more. That's why you have to behave in this way. He understands that you deserve more. If if the Creator can give you more, definitely will give you more, the most you deserve. That is paradise. This is beautiful. This is not really entertaining. The pleasure of God doesn't mean seek God's pleasure. Seek God's pleasure. To me, it is a nonsense statement. Really, it didn't make sense to me until I understood that, pleasure of God means me acting in a sincere way. It means in accordance with the way the universe is created, the way I am created, the way the message, verbal message from my Creator recommends me, advises me, and the way his teacher is happy with his teaching to me if I obey him. So the conclusion is, I spoke a lot. I know, but I cannot stop myself. I'm excited. So we have to be very careful not to ignore the presence of the prophet, messengers, teachers in our life. We have to accord our life to his exemplary teaching in his practical life. We have to bear in mind that I have to follow the messenger of God, teacher appointed by God in my practical life. Where is he? If you look, you will definitely find it. But we don't look for it practically. We say, what is Sunnah? Without understanding even what Sunnah is. What we keep saying Sunnah. Really, it is very difficult to understand what Sunnah is. And then we start speaking about Hadith narrations. No, Hadith narrations is another matter. But Sunnah means the way, the example a teacher employed by the God is the most perfect man. Are we looking for the most perfect man's exemplary life for me? Look around yourself. Look around yourself. Who is really utilizing his human purposes, his qualities in the best way? When you find them, you will find that they are following the teachers that employed by God. It is the messengers, prophets. They are following it. They are the students of the prophet, a sequence of it. Following one, learning from him, learning from the other generation, somebody from following generation from the previous generation. Look in your practical life for the living example of the fruit of the teaching of these messengers. Fruit, the last fresh fruit in your age. Otherwise, you lose yourself in your own ambitions, caprices, interpretations, expectations, whatever we may choose, without guidance. Without guidance. That is horrible. That will be a waste of time. We have to wake up. Thank you very much.
I agree. We definitely have to wake up. Thank you for your comments. It reminded me of this talk from someone who's talking about the education system in general. That how it's the way it's set up, it's really making us dumb, or like zombies. Like we're not. The need to seek answers to questions is there, but unfortunately, the way things are set up, it's not helping us. It's destroying us. In other words, it's like as human beings are made in a way where we want to seek answers to our questions, and obviously we want to. We need to utilize ourselves for a meaningful purpose. Like really, what is the end goal? What is it that I'm trying to accomplish? And like you were saying, most likely it ends up either satisfying our caprices, ego, but that just stays here within the universe. Like, what is the end goal to all this? Ooh, why should I go on doing everything? Yes, we do enjoy things. I do have a love for this. I do have a passion for playing basketball, or I do have a passion for writing, just for example. But like what? And so really, what I'm trying to get at, I mean, it was an interesting talk, but there's nothing like satisfying with it. Like, what is education at the end of the day? We all want to satisfy our human spirit. The human spirit is yearning for answers to its questions, and with that, nobody wants temporary solution to these questions. We don't want temporary answers. We want answers that stays with us, that satisfies our human side, that quench the thirst of our spirit, which is really yearning for the source of existence, the source of its existence, the source of existence of all the qualities that we find here. I mean, we do love education, we do love to study, we do love art, we do love everything, but then for what purpose, right? Yeah, I just wanted to share that based on what Brother Ali ended up saying. Is there anyone else who wants to make a comment or add something? Beza, go ahead, please.
Thank you for your comments and pretty comprehensive summary of the main points. I'm just going to backtrack just a little bit and share a little bit of what I was thinking about in relation to all of this. As far as the author saying, he says, I do not want to bribe, recompense, return a reward for love which seeks recompense is weak and short-lived, and the compassionate mothers do not want or seek a reward or bribe for their love of their children. So yeah, I mean, the question in my mind was how, and I think it was in part tainted with like other sort of notions and concepts I was actually bringing to the table, and I wasn't really aware of what I was dealing with. And I can't really say I am aware now, but at least insofar as a little bit of clarity, I think, has appeared in my mind, that it's not a return or reward for love in the sense that it's it being a transactional sort of relationship between me and my source of existence, in the sense that, okay, I will do X, Y, and Z, and you'll give me X, Y, Z, or whatever. But in the sense that while acting in accordance with my creational command, as in not contradicting, for example, as everyone here already, mentioned, like the feelings within me, what I see in the universe, the guidance that, it alludes to my feelings, and I am able to confirm or check it with my reasoning. All of these different aspects, like acting in accordance or not contradicting my what the calling or my creational command within me. There is still something, there's an expectation there, and maybe we can call this the human expectation, that I will receive answers to these questions that I have, or I will receive guidance, or I will or I have this expectation that things will be meaningful for me, because I don't look for something with the expectation that I won't find it. That seems kind of contradictory to the way I find myself. And at the same time, I can't say that's necessarily a reward that I'm expecting, in the sense that I've been, like, I find myself in this sort of state of being. I'm not necessarily using my free will to have this expectation. It's already there. So having this expectation doesn't make me in a situation, that doesn't make me one who's bargaining with God, saying, okay, you must give me this, or I expect this from you. So I think, like, as far as my experience of existence is concerned, just very briefly through all the different aspects that we touched upon, like, first and foremost, finding myself existing with innumerable needs, unable to meet these needs, no power to create anything or bring anything into existence. So I come to a conclusion that there must be a source of existence that must be meeting or creating these things that seem to be meeting my needs. But even the acknowledgement of the source of existence in and of itself, if I leave it there, is insufficient, in the sense that I have to constantly revert it back to my needs being met, and that this source is or within the acknowledgement, rather, maybe just not saying it's insufficient, but enlarging the scope of what I was referring to it as the its definition as referring to, that the source, addressing all my needs, meeting all my needs in a compassionate, merciful way, in a very seamless fashion, as I experience myself in my interconnected relationship with the rest of the universe. And within that process, I come to the conclusion that the source must be an absolute source, and that within that conclusion, that it's not a one-time thing, but that the experience of going through this over and over again in different ways, and not necessarily the exact same way, but with my feelings, from there, the sense of gratitude like blossoming within me, because then it addressing that most essential human expectation within me, and that not being a transactional relationship, but rather just simply acting in accordance with the way I find myself existing, without, I guess, just to tie into the other point that Brother Alima had made about, not with guidance, not just my own interpretations of things, or caprices, or things like that. Thank you.
Thank you, HB. Well said. Yeah, really, everything becomes unconditional then. I mean, if we just recognize how things are, the true nature of everything, it's really, it's not about give or take. It's just really unconditional. That's how, when one is true to their human reality, that's really what remains. And I mean, I was thinking about this example and even what you shared out, this whole like process of back and forth reasoning, even like the compassion of mothers towards the young. It's very unconditional. That's how, we are equipped. And it's all about really being aware of the true purpose or the meaning of one's existence, that would bring like satisfaction or contentment to the human spirit. And also like recognizing, like you said, our needs, and how like really the need then becomes like a means or a message through which I get to know or get acquainted with the source of my existence. And within this whole process, the human expectations of seeking eternal existence and happiness get satisfied. So yeah, I agree with that. Thank you. And I think also Sohail had a comment saying that to do something without the expectation of recompense. Yeah, that goes along with that line as well. All right, wonderful. And I don't know, before that I saw Brother Adam's hand up, but I see Brother Zafar now. So Brother Zafar, go ahead, please. And then Brother Adam, if you want to say something, you can go afterwards. Go ahead, Brother Zafar.
So we cannot deny our expectations. When we live here, we expect to be happy. We find in ourselves the need to be happy. We expect in ourselves the need to fulfill our potentials. We cannot deny these. So yes, I will pursue these. That doesn't mean that I am that doesn't necessarily mean that I am in a transactional relationship. Oh, I shouldn't be expect anything in return. No, as Hatice Beyza said, these are put in me. So I'm wondering what I should do, right? In the example of a laptop, I recognize that I am given something of enormous value. I just don't know what it really is and how I should use it. Therefore, I need guidance, as Dr. Ali was saying. I will look for that guidance, and I will learn how to utilize myself as a laptop rather than a tray by learning from the best teachers I can find. That doesn't make me an opportunist. I'm just being true to myself, right? And so the problem is, I cannot avoid, in that sense, I cannot avoid transactions. But we also understand that we should avoid transactions that are not profitable, meaning that I cannot sell myself, or I should not use myself as a trade. That would be selling my abilities at a low price, right? Which means that I do things like I help people as someone who helps people, not as someone whose aim is to know the absolute helper. Or when I make a cake was a nice example. I make a cake and it, well, first of all, I find in myself the desire for a nice cake, and I do all the research, and I make a few mistakes along the way, and then finally I bake a good cake. And then what do I do with this experience? To brag that, hey, I can make good cakes. So that's like using myself as a tray, selling myself, my potentiality at a low price. What was I supposed to do? I was supposed to recognize that all the desire for a nice cake is an invitation to get to know my reality, that I'm needy. I am always in need to know the provider, the one who invites me to himself, to itself, to get to know that absolute source, and that I should recognize that without getting to know that source, whatever I do is in vain. And so when I am given, after all those trials, efforts, supplications, I am given that delicious cake, that I don't say, hey, I make great cake. No, I say, this is given to me because I recognize my need for it. And then through this experience, I know my provider. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. And well, let's see. I saw with Miriam. Oh, your hand was up. Do you still want to say something?
I mean, if no one has anything left to say, then I would like to add, put in something.
Go for it. Yeah.
I just wanted to pinpoint some of the things that I took out of the discussion. The first thing that I took out was you are completely dependent on your creator. The second thing was this universe has an owner. Everything is given freely to us. We do not make any results, or we do not create anything. We cannot guarantee anything. My being is beautiful and perfectly arranged according to my needs. Always appreciate what your creator gives you, because if you don't, he will take it away. Wait, I didn't do this one correctly. If you use your ability the correct way, the gift will grow and grow. This is considered heaven. If you don't, the gift will fade away and become smaller. This is considered hell. You have to follow the messenger of God, or our creator. You need to utilize yourself for a meaningful purpose. We cannot deny our needs or wants of eternity. Thank you.
Mashallah, thank you for this beautiful summary, Miriam. It was well stated, and HBS is applauding as well. I think everybody's applauding, but people are all a little lazy using the icon. But yeah, hooray, we have like 3 applauds. Excellent. While you were, what was your last comment about? Sorry, I got preoccupied with this whole applauding business, but all is wonderful and good summary. I think talking about gift, you said something about everything is a gift, and so we take care of it. Yeah, that's how it is. When somebody gives you a gift, it really is a token of love, appreciation, and then so you take good care of it, and then that's how we are made. We're pleased with the gift, and that the one who's providing the gift is also pleased, and then we keep getting gifts. So when you say thank you to somebody, they're like, oh, this person likes the gift, and then you keep getting those gifts. So that's how the mysterious or interesting order in the universe works. So that's all I wanted to add with your summary, and it's 4:30 right now. Just checking in to see any last comments from anyone. Okay, if not, I don't know, is Mariam Sayed there? If she is, can you please read up the comment on the screen so we can also hear your voice and you can end up with that?
We cannot deny our needs of wanting eternal happiness. That is part of my human nature, or that is how I am made, so I need to address that with the help of me, the universe, and teachers, prophets.
Alrighty, wonderful. That sums it up. So I think we can conclude it here for today, inshallah. Next week, we can pick up from the fourth matter, where the author is mentioning about eat not of meats on which God's name has not been pronounced. What does it mean? Not eating the meat on which God's name has not been pronounced. So until next time, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alim al-hakim. Glory be unto you. We have no knowledge save except that which you've taught us. Indeed, you are all knowledgeable, all wise. Wa akhiru da'wahum anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati surat al-Fatiha. Ameen. Jazakallah khair, everyone. Thank you all for your contribution, and Assalamu alaikum.